All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL DFS video touching on the Thursday night showdown between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New Orleans Saints. So we're going to see that the Jaguars they're actually underdogs. That's a little bit shocking to me. I thought they were going to be favorites. I don't know. I just assumed that right off the bat. So interesting there. I will say, literally, when I was watching the Jaguars film, I was like, this Colts offense, like it was running like a Saints offense. In a weird way. And I'm like, man, if Derek Carr was playing for the Colts, I think the Colts would have a good chance to be up in this game early. Minshew was literally like, here, defense, here's an interception, take it. And then the defense was like, no, that's okay. And then Minshew would have another drive and be like, no, please take the interception. It's on me. And then the defense would be like, no, that's all right. And then Trevor Lawrence came out and was like, no, here, I'll show you guys how to throw an interception. And then it was just like a game of bad throws for a little bit there. And then all of a sudden, Minshew they started to catch the interceptions. And then, Lawrence started to hit some open receivers and the game kind of broke open, which kind of brings up the point of Trevor Lawrence. It's like he is so inconsistent. You can never trust him. I can't bet on the Jaguars really at all when it comes to that because Trevor Lawrence is so inconsistent. I mean, he is super frustrating. I always bring this up for people that really don't watch too much film or catch any Jaguars games. That playoff game between the Chargers where he was flat out the reason why they were down, but also he was flat out the reason why they were able to make that comeback. It's like, man, he is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league for a half and then literally one of the best quarterbacks in the league for a half. It's like, dude, we need an even keel line. And he has been a little bit more consistent. I would say much more consistent there. Even rushing the football, he's made better decisions with that as well. But yeah, I don't know. I almost feel like they should be favorites in this one. That's a little bit shocking to me. Now, looking at the injury report, we are going to see Juwan Johnson for the Saints is still out. That's going to mean a lot of Taysom Hill. Okay, so we're probably looking at Taysom Hill as a play. And then looking at the Jaguars, nothing really too much. The biggest one is going to be, I shouldn't say that. Trevor Lawrence currently questionable, limited practices, the last two practices. He is expected to play. He should be good to go. Zay Jones is listed out. Okay, so that is kind of important news. When we go ahead and take a peek at their snaps, so they have kind of spread out those snaps between Jamal Agnew and also Tim Jones. For a while there, it just seemed like it was going to be Jamal Agnew. No, that isn't the case. And maybe that's just due to him coming back from injury. We don't really know for sure. But this offense is one that is kind of designed to spread the football around. Heck, Brendan Strange had himself a really good game, and he actually might be a sneaky value play for us. At the same time, he is kind of priced up. DraftKings did a good job with that. So let's take a peek at DraftKings. We'll start out with the Jaguars. So I do want to start out with Trevor Lawrence. Like I said, he is a little bit too difficult to trust, okay? Especially with Travis Etienne playing the way that he has been. I can't trust Trevor Lawrence until we see it consistently from him. It seemed like at the start of this season that was going to happen, and then it just didn't. Especially with these weapons like Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne, literally the top players at their positions in the NFL, top 10, top 20, whatever, players that would be starting on basically every single team, and he still isn't able to produce, especially with Doug Peterson scheming wide open plays. That's where it's a little bit tough to trust him for me, and especially at his huge price tag that we would have to play to get him at. Okay, I would much rather go Travis Etienne. Now, I know the matchup's going to be a little bit more difficult, but as we saw, he's someone that has been playing like a workhorse workload. Okay, and he is someone that continuing to get 20 opportunities. Will he be the captain's play? Given the matchup, probably not. He's probably not going to be the optimal captain's pick, but still, I do think he's someone we want to be playing in our flex. Then continuing on, I do think if we're choosing between Trevor Lawrence and one of the receivers, we're not doing that. We're probably playing both of the receivers. So yeah, Calvin Ridley there, Calvin Ridley kind of made a sick sideline catch. It seemed like Trevor Lawrence was trying to throw it out of bounds, and Calvin Ridley just went up there and snagged it out of the air. It was an awesome play. But he has been someone where the production has been a little bit sporadic. Part of that is due to, once again, Trevor Lawrence's inconsistency. He is someone that, if he goes off, wouldn't be shocking. This kind of somewhat reminds me of the George Kittle situation. Now, the pricing isn't as low, and I mentioned this for MVS as well, and that didn't work out. But it's kind of one of those situations where if I'm really trying to go out of my way to play him, I'm trying to go out of my way to play him in the captain spot where we know we can gain a huge edge on the field. I want to be overweight there because we do know that those big games are there for him. 27 in week 1 against Indy and then against Buffalo, 23. Those big games are there for him. It's just where they see the weakness in this New Orleans defense. Christian Kirk I don't want to say got lucky to have another big game, but his touchdown was wide open. It's just he was the one that ran it. I will say Lawrence did miss him on another play later on. They did call DPI in that play though, so you can't really blame Lawrence for that. So he's been consistent. I think everyone's going to be defaulting to Christian Kirk, and I would say that is probably correct. But at the same time, it's tough. It's tough because I do want to play both of them, but at the same time, that does feel like the wrong choice now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more. And that might just come down to an ownership thing. I haven't populated the ownership into the optimizer just yet. It's too early. But I might just go with who's ever lower owned there. We do also have Evan Ingram, who has really been a stud. Now, last week, watching it was so strange. Like, it didn't seem like he was as involved, even though he had the same production pretty much. I mean, 7 targets, 8 targets, 8 targets, 8 targets. Like, it was weird. And like literally the same production. I don't know if that's because Strange just like looked good as well. That's probably it. Maybe it's just not having as many yards either, but still. 7 targets, 7 receptions. They are manufacturing touches his way. He is someone that when we're looking at pricing, to me, it almost feels like he is a must play, just given the pricing, because we know for the most part, going to be locked into a target share. Like, he's basically been the 3rd best tight end in season long leagues. Kelsey, Hawkinson, and heck, in terms of consistency, he's probably been number 1. Like, when you look at like dispersion and whatnot, like highly consistent. I mean, given his targets and production, like literally basically at his mean every single game. So yeah, I really like Evan Ingram as a play. From there, kicker, sure. Like, I'd never feel like I need to touch on kicker or defense too much, guys. If you end up on them, by all means, go for it. I did mention the Jaguars literally did not want to catch an INT at the start of the game. It was, obviously they did, but like they weren't doing it. And Minshew's like, no, you will have these INTs. Take them. And, I mean, Minshew had a bad game. The Jaguars defense has been solid. And like Derek Carr, if he's going to continue to check things down like he has been, sure, there might be something there. I don't know if you guys, there's like a tweet going around that pretty much says the Saints offensive coordinator has been the worst one in the league in terms of like scheming plays open. There might be something there. Looking at Tank Bigsby, we're not playing him. I just want to call this out. He literally had 1 catch for 6 yards, but that was literally the first play this year besides preseason where he popped, where he kind of made someone miss, and then he got popped himself as well by doing that. But I would just like to see more of that from him. It seemed like he was going to be better in preseason, and they try to use him early on, and he's just not that good apparently. Strange is definitely going to be an interesting play. He has been someone that did pop a little bit in preseason. They used him a little bit more last week, and I don't know if that was a matchup thing, but they got him some targets early on in that game. And I don't know, maybe if it becomes pass heavy, they might just go with him a little bit more. To me, it's more of a lineup filler. Like, I probably would rather play him over Tim Jones or Jamal Agnew. Jamal Agnew didn't have any design plays to him last week. Tim Jones, I don't think did either. No, he didn't as well. So they maybe are phasing that part out, or maybe they just didn't see that as a part of the field that they want to attack. Both of them are kind of short yardage guys, kind of basically, especially Agnew, like someone that you'd use in an end around or something like that. And they didn't do that last week. They didn't really need to either. And so for me, it's probably looking at this like a concentrated Travis Etienne, Evan Ingram, and then either Kirk or Calvin Ridley. Now we look at the Saints. Oh man, kind of a frustrating team. Like, I will say Alvin Kamara, we're just putting him into our builds. It's easy. And part of the reason why I said like the Colts, it felt like a Saints offense because the way that the running backs were running routes, saw a lot of Saints type routes for the running back. Jonathan Taylor, especially Zach Moss, those were kind of more dump offs. But if you combine those two, it's like literally the production that we get out of Alvin Kamara. And we look at his snap share, it's been there, right? Like workhorse snap share there. The only reason why these players didn't play more against the Patriots is because that game was a blowout. And so I do think we are going to be looking at Alvin Kamara as a just standout play. I'd be fine putting him in the captain spot. If we can make that work, let's go ahead and do it. We will see. From there, Chris Olave, so close to having monster games. And he has had a couple, but like the fact that he only has 1 touchdown is crazy. Could easily have 2 more. Bigger plays that have been there. Like, he's been close to having big plays where they're barely ruled out or didn't get reviewed. Much better production is there. It's just not showing up. So it wouldn't be shocking for him to have a big game. Looking at the price difference between him and Michael Thomas, it does feel like Thomas is a little bit safer, but also Olave is the captain's play. Olave is the play that you're going out of your way to make. From there, Taysom Hill. He was definitely used a lot more last week, kind of used as a traditional tight end as well. And that's because Jawan Johnson is out. I think that correlates pretty well. Now, we do need to get a touchdown out of him if he's going to be a good play, especially at this price tag. And it is kind of crazy comparing the two. Like, how is Hill 6.2 when Evan Ingram is 5.8? Like, that just doesn't make sense. And then some people are probably going to ask about Derek Carr, so I'll just bring him up. I don't like this play. I just don't. Like, Derek Carr is checking things down a little bit too much. Do I think that could work? Yes. Do I think that's something that I want to chase production-wise? Not really. He did end up with 300 passing yards. That's great. One touchdown. Nice. But like that felt like his best outcome of the whole season is that game. And he only had one touchdown. So I don't trust it as much. I don't like it. Yes, like I said, there has been bigger games there for Chris Olave. And obviously if Chris Olave is having a big game, Derek Carr is going to have a decent game, but it's tough for me to trust that. So continuing on, Saints D is certainly in play as well. I don't think you're avoiding them, but you're not going out of your way to roster them. Like I said, Trevor Lawrence is going to have a few head scratchers in this game. Could go with their kicker, probably not touching that. Foster Moreau plays a decent amount of snaps, like we'll see here, but is 50 enough? I don't know. I think he's a little bit too expensive. I'd probably rather go with Strange for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who's much cheaper. So really the play to me that I think we're going to end up on is going to be Shaheed. Much more of a big play guy, don't get me wrong, but he is playing a lot. The talent is certainly there. If he's going to be playing around 77% of the snaps, it's just a play that to me makes a lot of sense. And so if we can fit him into our builds with Olave, let's do that. So let's go Olave, and can we fit him into the captain spot? No, just short. Oh, that would have been real nice there. Oh, that hurts. Michael Thomas instead, maybe. We'll see. I do think Chris Olave is the play. But looking at some other Saints players, I don't think we're really looking at anyone, to be honest with you guys. Like, nothing else really pops up to me. Kendre Miller, like maybe you get lucky with a big catch like he had against New England. That game was much more of a blowout. That's why I don't think I want to chase that. So it is a concentrated like player pool that we're going to be on. And man, that would have been nice. That would have been real nice to end up on Olave if we could have, or even Carr. So we'll put Michael Thomas there. I'm going to move Shaheed. Let's see if this will work. Kamara, probably not. I don't think it's going to work. No, it doesn't work. Christian Kirk, I think Ingram in the captain spot would be safe as well. Another one that I try to work with Calvin Ridley in there instead. Shoot. So I guess you could pivot between, this is what I came up with, like maybe Ingram in the captain spot. Don't love that. It feels like a safe thing. I'd rather probably just chase some production. Like, I don't know, Ridley or Kirk instead. This just feels like a safe thing. Like we need a touchdown out of Ingram. Could be a safe cash build, but I don't know. I want to get to Chris Olave. We could go down, I guess. Oh, it's good job pricing. That's all I gotta say when this stuff happens. It's very ugly, but here's a lineup that I kind of like. And I like the fact that we could pivot between Kirk and Ridley here. I did want to get to Shaheed and probably will do that a little bit, but I do like this build. I think this is the best build you could make, with pivoting to Ridley instead of Kirk in a build. But that's going to be all for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the coverage. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell as well. Comment your guys' favorite play for this slate. If I'm missing anything, let me know. We're trying to help each other here. Thanks for watching. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing. Oh, if you guys want access to the NFL DFS lineup optimizer, it is available in the link in the description below, 9to5sports.com for just $10 a month. All right. Thanks for watching. And as always, let's keep cashing.